Getting lost at Disney World, ride-throughs gone wrong, and paying extra cash for a whole lot of nothing. These are the most annoying things we've ever encountered in Disney World and our best tips for avoiding and outsmarting them. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and for the most part, I'd say Disney World is a pretty magical place. But when it's not magical, it is really not magical. And some of the most annoying things about Disney World could threaten to bleed into the legit magical stuff to put a damper on your whole trip, or at least multiple park days. Been there, my friends, many times before. So today, we're calling out Disney World's biggest annoyances so that A, you'll know they're a thing that you might encounter and you can brace yourself, and B, you'll know how to handle and possibly avoid them before you go, to help preserve the magic and pull back on those irritants. Yes, as you know, we here at DFB have made the mistakes so that you don't have to. So come with us and hear about them. Okay, starting with the annoying stuff, 2 words, ride lines. It doesn't matter how cool the ride you're getting in line for is. There's just something about waiting in a 60-minute, 90-minute, 120-minute line that makes even the coolest Disney World rides kind of annoying. I remember my first time riding Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in Magic Kingdom when it opened back in 2012. I think I got in line for it when it was projected to be like a 60-minute wait, and that was already pushing it for me, but come on, it was brand new and the FOMO was already entirely too strong, so I got in line knowing that I was going to be in this for the long haul. But then the long haul got longer, especially since the ride went down for brief technical delays twice while I was in line. So the ride ended up being double the weight of what was originally posted. And when I finally got on, the ride lasted for 3 minutes and then it was over. And I found myself thinking, that was it? I waited 2 hours for that? And so initially, I thought I really didn't like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train all that much, but during my next Disney World visit, I tried it again with the fam, and we got in line for it closer to park closing when the line ended up being a 30-minute wait instead of 2 hours. And you know what? I liked it that time. I liked it a whole lot more. Okay, so as we know, waiting in ride lines can be brutal, right? So I want to take a second right now to share some of the best ways to avoid the longest lines. Disney's premium Skip the Ride line service and its lightning lanes is a handy thing. You get to pay to skip over the main queues for a lot of rides and then get much shorter waits. But lightning lanes do get expensive, so here are a couple of other options that won't cost you a dime. First, going to the parks for rope drop or early theme park entry can help you skip over the bulk of the line at least one of your priority rides without paying anything extra for it. End of the night and during the fireworks spectaculars can also be a key time to find lower ride wait times at no extra charge. And single rider lines might break up your group temporarily, but they are a third line option for select Disney World rides that could very well still help you skip over the bulk of the main queue, minus the lightning lane price. While single rider lines aren't 100% guaranteed to cut down your wait time, they sure have been useful for our DFB team and myself lately when it comes to bypassing the main lines for ultra popular rides like Rise of the Resistance and Hollywood Studios, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and Test Track and Epcot, and a handful of others too. But if you are cool with paying extra, if it means little to no waits park-wide, and you want some options other than multi-pass and lightning lanes, then you may want to consider investing in one of Disney's after-hours events or holiday parties, which are separately ticketed and happen on select evenings after the parks close, to give you exclusive entertainment and a limited guest capacity, meaning back-to-back Disney rides for you with very low waits. Now, if you're staying at a deluxe level resort, you can get extended evening hours for select parks on certain nights, giving you 2 extra hours in the parks past closing time. No extra ticket purchase necessary, though you will still need valid park admission for the day. But in general, you've really got to set your expectations for certain rides to have extremely long lines during regular park hours. If you're nervous about getting every ride done that you want to get done during your upcoming Disney World vacation, don't be. We've got a free PDF that's going to show you how to ride everything in Disney World, and it's loaded with pro tips. It's got the best ways to use early entry, example itineraries built around ride enthusiasts, and more. Just scan the QR code you see on the screen or click on the link in the description for disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyRides. After this, we'll send it to you totally free. All right, our second super annoying thing about Disney World is getting in and out of Magic Kingdom. When Bria and I were working on this script, that is the one thing that we both kind of looked at each other and were like, you know what's super annoying? Yeah, getting into Magic Kingdom and then getting out at the end of the night. So going to Epcot is easy. Getting to Hollywood Studios, just as easy. Animal Kingdom, I mean, you got less complimentary travel options, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Getting to Magic Kingdom, now that is a horse of a different color. When you drive to Magic Kingdom, take a non-Disney rideshare, or use a hotel bus that comes from a non-Disney owned hotel, you're not gonna be parking or dropped off right outside the Magic Kingdom. Surprise! You're gonna have to start your venture at this central hub called the Transportation and Ticket Center, or the TTC for short. From the TTC, you have to decide whether you want to ride the monorail or the ferry the rest of the way to Magic Kingdom. Sometimes even a bus will be available during some of those busier seasons, which might be your shortest line option, just saying. And you can thank Walt directly for this, by the way. He was super annoyed that all kinds of commerce sprung up around Disneyland, and he wanted Magic Kingdom to be separate from everything around it. And so that's why you get to take a whole extra mode of transportation to get to the park. Transportation times from the Transportation and Ticket Center and to the Magic Kingdom vary depending on the crowds. So as a good rule of thumb, be sure to factor in extra travel time on Magic Kingdom mornings, since it's going to take you longer to reach the park than you might realize. The only way you'll be able to arrive directly at the gates of Magic Kingdom without all the extra TTC hassle is A, if you're taking a Disney resort bus, B, staying at one of the Magic Kingdom resorts, and you can easily travel over by monorail, boat, or by foot, depending on the resort you choose. Or C, booking a minivan, which is Disney's own rideshare service you can book directly through the Lyft app. Minivans tend to be more costly than regular rideshares. Nobody's shocked, right? But they'll pick you up near the Magic Kingdom buses, and you won't have to deal with all the transportation crowds. So the extra expense might be worth it, especially when you're going to Magic Kingdom, to avoid the headaches. And you think it's bad getting to Magic Kingdom? Just wait till you have to leave. Right after Happily Ever After shoots off his last firework over Cinderella Castle and everyone bursts into thunderous applause, it becomes a whirlwind of hustling and bustling energy toward the exit immediately after. So bus lines, monorail lines, and boat lines get extremely packed, not with just thousands of guests, but thousands of cranky guests who just spent 10 hours in the park in the heat racking up tens of thousands of steps. Okay, so now you understand why Bria and I were both just like, oh yeah, we gotta talk about this in this particular video. So keep in mind the Magic Kingdom transportation at the beginning and end of the day, it's no joke. And that's for both the TTC transportation and the resort and bus and monorail transportation too. So again, factor that extra transpo time in your schedule, but don't be afraid to hang back in Magic Kingdom just a little bit longer after the park closes. While the rides and attractions won't be taking any more guests, the Main Street USA shops will stay open an extra 30 minutes or so, meaning you can wait for the thick of the crowds to get on their buses and their boats and their monorails, while you bypass the time just sort of chilling in the park near Cinderella Castle and making some last-minute purchases. It's a much better way to spend your evening than standing in those sweaty lines. Okay, this is another one that Bria and I were like, we are definitely talking about this because it has happened to both of us multiple times, believe it or not. When I say you need to pack shoes that have been broken in preparation for the tens of thousands of steps you'll be taking in the Disney World parks daily, I don't mean shoes that are completely gonna break on you. Then again, no one's really packing shoes expecting them to snap at any moment. They just suddenly decide to give up on you sometimes, which, to be fair, if I was like unexpectedly just forced to walk 20,000 steps as well, I think maybe I would break too. And you know what's really not convenient? Having a shoe break when you're on your way over to, I don't know, make it to your Lightning Lane return window, or when you're trying to get to one of the shows in time, or even just minding your own business, leisurely strolling around Epcot's World Showcase without a care in the world. Having a shoe completely fall apart on you like this is typically a sandal offense. A reliable pair of tennis shoes usually won't strike you with the same sort of problems, though tennies have their own bout of vices, like rubbing heels the wrong way, or having the sole start to come apart, or getting soaked and then staying soaked after a rainstorm so that your feet prune up and stay pruned for hours and then smell really, really bad. That's why I like to have an extra pair of shoes handy, either back in my hotel room or even in my park bag if I'm bringing a bigger backpack with me that day. And sometimes I even kind of bring like shoe emergency kits with me. Like I have this great pair of Tevas that I absolutely love. They're on their last legs, my friends, and you can tell that they're kind of getting frayed, and I know they're gonna go on me at some point. So I bring a few safety pins. I bring like a shoelace, in case I need to fix that real quick. or tie one end around, one side. You get it. But anyway, I bring a couple of little extra things that don't take up a lot of space and aren't really heavy, just in case of any sort of a wardrobe malfunction, including a shoe snap. And just in case you're thinking about this, if you do need an emergency pair of shoes ASAP, you're not going to want to spend money on the ones in the parks because those are like $60 for a pair of flip-flops. They're so expensive. I have had to do this, my friends. I've had to do it in Disney Springs, buy a pair of Havianas. They were just crazy pricey. Anyway, might not be an ideal solution, but if you had a trusty tube of shoe glue in your park bag, or like I said, bring a shoelace, some safety pins, maybe a super, super light pair of flip-flops, JIC. It's an inexpensive way to create a temporary solution when you don't have the time to figure out something more and you don't want to spend $60 on a pair of flip-flops. By the way, shoe glue available on Amazon as well as other store shelves across those big box stores for less than $10. And shoelaces, well, you know where to find those. All right, plans change, y'all. Sometimes the restaurant you booked 60 days ago isn't the restaurant you still want to eat at when you're in Disney World. And Disney's okay with you changing your mind. You just have to warn them about it first. Otherwise, you're going to encounter a really, really, really annoying problem. If you want to cancel or modify a dining reservation, most Disney World restaurants are going to let you do that. No strings attached, just as long as you do so within the cancellation window. That's usually up to 2 hours before your reservation time. But once you're 2 hours out, if you don't cancel your reservation, you're going to be charged with a no-show fee if you don't, show up. Most of the time, no-show fees will be $10 per person, but for certain restaurants like Hoop-De-Doo Musical Review at Fort Wilderness, Victoria and Albert's at Grand Floridian, and Monsieur Paul and Takumite in Epcot, cancellation fees work differently and will require you to not only make those cancellations earlier than 2 hours out, but also they're going to charge you way more if you wind up ghosting them. You may even have to pay the full price of the meal itself, depending on the restaurant. Be sure to read up on the cancellation policies for your restaurants before you actually book, just in case the policy works differently than you're expecting. And then there are places like Cinderella's Royal Table in Magic Kingdom, which still abide by the 2-hour cancellation policy, but do not abide by the $10 per person cancellation fee. If you ghost our girl Cindy, she's gonna make you pay for that entire meal, whether you go to it or not. She is not messing around. So again, double check those dining cancellation policies. To cancel your reservation on time, open your My Disney Experience app, find the reservation, and select the cancel button below the reservation information. And if you accidentally miss that 2-hour window, you're going to be given a number to call to proceed with a late cancellation. That doesn't mean you're not going to forfeit the no-show fee, but that doesn't mean you're not going to forfeit the no-show fee if you call to cancel with 30 minutes to spare. My best advice for you, if you have to make any sort of last-minute dining cancellation, is to swing by the host stand of the restaurant you're trying to make the cancellation for and explain what's going on. I know that's not always possible because sometimes you need to make a cancellation because your kid's throwing a tantrum and you're not going to go to the restaurant, period. Again, this might not free you of those no-show fees, but depending on the situation, the restaurant might be able to waive them for you. It always helps to talk to a real person when things go awry, instead of fully relying on technology to sort things out for you. Now that I'm thinking about it, you might also be able to go up to a guest services desk and see if they can help you out as well. So usually I am big on the whole you get what you get and you don't throw a fit mentality. I can put in my preferences for hotel room locations or tell the host at the front of the restaurant where I'd like to be seated, or ask the cast member towards the front of the ride if there's any way I can get on a certain row of the coaster. But I also completely understand that these requests can't always be accommodated. And that's cool. It's not going to ruin my day. But I also understand that seating and placement can make or break some folks' trips for entirely different and legitimate reasons. Like for instance, if you just had knee surgery and your standard hotel room ends up being in a building that's literally miles away from the resort's lobby, or on the upper level of one of the Caribbean beach resort buildings since they don't have any elevators. That can be a huge pain, literally, to traverse every day. Or if you're about to propose to your significant other, then you might be wildly frustrated if you're seated in the far back corner of whatever dining room you're in, like over by the kitchen and the bathroom. Or if you know that you're way more likely to upchuck everything in you if you're put in the backseat of a roller coaster and then hearing a cast member say, "Row 17 for Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom." might already be making your stomach feel queasy. I have been there, my friends. One of the things that all of these types of requests have in common, though, is that cast members want to work with you, not against you. So if there is something specific that you need to alert them about beforehand, don't be afraid to speak up so that they can at least help you meet in the middle somewhere. But beyond the general note, here are some more specific ways to help better your chances of getting the placement or the seat that will make your Disney World experience a lot better or more convenient. First, choose the preferred hotel room. You can absolutely make room requests via the Disney World website and the My Disney Experience app while you're checking into your hotel. But if you want to try to guarantee a room that's closer to all those resort amenities like the lobby, the restaurants, gift shops, transportation, your best bet is to pay a little extra for the preferred room option versus the standard room option. In the case of Disney's value hotels, this is usually going to cost you about $20 to $25 extra per night. But that could still be worth budgeting for just to make sure things are more convenient and comfortable for everyone in your group. Second, add in a celebration. There are two ways to let a Disney restaurant know you're getting ready to celebrate a special occasion, and both ways happen right as you're checking in for your meal. Method number one, use mobile check-in via the My Disney Experience app. That'll open up for you about 15 minutes before your reservation time, and while you're checking in, you can confirm how many members you've got in your group, reaffirm any special dietary needs, and you'll be able to tack on a celebration notifier. The app's going to give you some basic options to choose from, like birthdays and anniversaries, so go ahead and pick the one that best fits the reason for your visit to alert the dining room cast members ahead of time. Method number two here, sneakily share your special occasion with the host when you arrive. Again, sometimes talking to a real live person can be your best bet for getting something orchestrated in a way that technology just can't. Sneak away from your group and fill in the host on what's about to go down so they can make a note of it in the system for your server. This still doesn't guarantee that anything specific is going to happen or that you're going to get the table you were hoping for, but there is a really good chance that cast members will go out of their way to create a more magical moment while you celebrate. All right, for the rides, if there's a certain ride row you want to snag, first, let the cast member who's boarding riders know it ASAP, and second, let them know that you're willing to wait for it. Often, cast members will pull you aside and into a different nearby waiting area so that they can continue filling the current train cars, but they'll rope you back in when the next car appears and that row you wanted is freed up. This honestly isn't a bad strategy to use for restaurants either. If there's a certain table you were wanting, like one with a fireworks view for instance, and you let your server know that you're willing to wait for it past your reservation window, that could help your case depending on the restaurant demand that day. Just an extra little reminder to read the room and be cool. If it's busy, the cast member seems harried, or things just feel stressy, don't be that guy. Oh, I hate this one. Okay. I've been going to Disney World practically my whole life, and you know what still trips me up even after all this time? Bus loops. Always with the bus loops. While some Disney hotels have just one bus stop area that you need to worry about, others are more like a whole college campus setup where you'll have multiple buildings and multiple places to potentially be picked up and dropped off. This is the case for resorts like Coronado Springs, Port Orleans Riverside, Saratoga Springs, Old Key West, Caribbean Beach, even Animal Kingdom Lodge has a couple of bus stops now. Now don't get me wrong, if these giant hotels didn't have multiple bus stops, then guests would be absolutely exhausted from all the walking by the end of their vacation. More bus stops around the hotel loop means whatever hotel room you get placed in is going to be close to one of them. But bus loops not only take a while to make their whole circle around the resort to pick up guests from each stop, they can also be confusing if you forget which stop you need to get off at. Many a time I've accidentally gotten off at the wrong stop and found myself on the far opposite side of the hotel from where I needed to be, and that is a real humbling experience, especially when it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and I've already walked 30,000 steps that day. Before you get served a slice of this humble pie yourself, be sure to pay extra close attention to where you're being picked up at the start of your day. Take a picture of the stop number if need be, much like you would if you need to remember where you've parked. And if you still accidentally get off at the wrong stop because, well, they all look the same. It's just easy to make that mistake when you're at the end of the day. You can always stay where you are and wait for another Disney bus to come pick you up and carry you the rest of the way to where you actually need to go. But this could take a while. If you think you're capable, you can also make the trek across the resort with your tail between your legs. Just look for the signs around property that'll point you in the right direction, and don't be afraid to flag down a cast member and ask for guidance too, if need be. Listen, I have gotten unbelievably lost in some of those giant sprawling hotels late at night when all the buildings look the same. Okay, there are three types of people in this world. There are the Disney adults, which I identify with, as to the point I wrote a whole book about the subculture. And what a whirlwind that's been. A wonderful, beautiful, unreal whirlwind. If you don't have the book, go ahead and get the book. It's really, really good. Anyway, there are the people who appreciate Disney but don't really need to go all the time. And then there are the people who just don't get it. Fair. We're not all going to have the same interests in life. No reason to go out and throw tomatoes or anything. But when a Disney adult travels to their happy place with someone who's not impressed by Disney in general, it kind of deflates the whole vacation mood. It's like when you show someone your favorite movie and at the end when you ask them, so what did you think? And they respond with like, it's okay, I don't get it. Again, people are gonna have different opinions on things and different hobbies, and that's cool. But that feeling of hyping something up for so long only to have someone sort of crush the way you feel about it is pretty vexing, to use like a Jane Austen word. So here's what we're going to do from now on, my fellow Disney adults. Before we agree to have someone join us at the most magical place on earth, the happiest place on earth, we're going to feel out the vibes here. If someone's in that begrudging, I'm going to go but I'm not going to like it mentality, you're probably better off not going with them at all. But like, don't lose a friendship over that or anything. But listen, all my Disney adults, there's a difference between someone who's killing the vibe with their negativity versus someone who's enjoying themselves but might not meet your same level of I love Disney intensity. So even if someone doesn't understand that there's an unofficial People Mover fan club over in the Disney food blog universe where AJ Wolf is the proud People Mover president and has even made shirts for the DFB store for all unofficial People Mover fan club members out there, that's okay. That's kind of inside baseball, and it's totally cool that your non-Disney adult friends' favorite rides are going to be a lot more thrilling. So say it with me, we can all like different things and still get along. But if you are in a position where you have to travel with someone who's stuck in the mindset that Disney's going to be miserable and just for kids, first, remember it's okay to split up and do your own thing and then regroup with everyone later on. And two, there are plenty of things to do on Disney property that even non-Disney folks can enjoy. There's golf, there's Disney Springs shopping, there's lounges, there's exploring Epcot's World Showcase, and even lounging in a hammock back at one of the resorts. Might take a little extra planning, but the payoff could mean finding the middle ground between the Disney fan and the non-Disney fan without having to annoy everybody. So it's really nice to have your own car on vacation or to have a rental car handy. That way you never have to wait on a Disney bus to get you to where you need to go. You don't have to keep paying for ride shares, and you can exit the Disney bubble anytime you want to explore different areas around Orlando or Florida in general. But that means actually having to drive in Orlando, and that's gotta be one of the 7 circles in Dante's Inferno, because I wouldn't wish I-4 traffic on my worst enemy. If you're about to do some driving around Disney World and Orlando, here are some of my best pieces of advice to help ease the travel pain, if only just a smidge. First, always leave a little earlier than you think you need to. Even if your GPS is telling you you'll reach your destination in 30 minutes, you're going to want to leave 60 minutes before you have to be somewhere, if not even earlier than that, just to give yourself some buffer time if you happen to get caught in stalled traffic. Especially if you're heading up to like Winter Park at rush hour. Oh my goodness. Anyway, 2, double check where your GPS is taking you. Sometimes programs like Waze and Google Maps might be leading you towards the right direction but the wrong area. For example, if you type in Magic Kingdom, there's a chance your GPS might start directing you straight to the park, or in the off-limits cast members only areas, this happens to me all the time, instead of toward the TTC parking lot. So before you head out and blindly trust technology to lead you where you need to go, double check and redirect. Something that our team is doing right now is actually putting in the parking lots themselves versus, say, Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom. Go to the parking lot instead. And 3, drive on the defense. This is something our dads always told us when we were learning how to drive, right? Act as if it's everyone else's first day on the road. And to this day, I still use that advice when I'm navigating traffic, because even if it's not everyone's first day driving, it's going to be a lot of people's first day driving in Orlando, and that means you'll probably have an increase of people accidentally or purposefully, I don't know, cutting you off in order to switch lanes or making sudden stops because they panicked after missing their exit, and similar anxiety spiking moments like that. So be on the defense and pay attention. This might mean needing to turn down the music on your radio for a minute or having everyone play the quiet game just so you can focus all your attention on the traffic that's ahead. Okay, picture this. You stake out a great spot to watch Magic Kingdom's nighttime spectacular, you know, the fireworks, happily ever after, where you can clearly see Cinderella Castle in all her glory, and then right before the show begins, someone shows up wearing the biggest Sorcerer's Mickey novelty hat you've ever seen in your life and stands right in front of you. The trouble with the nighttime spectaculars and the fireworks and the shows at Magic Kingdom versus Epcot or Hollywood Studios is that clear visibility of the full show, as in seeing all the castle projections along with the fireworks, isn't always guaranteed. And what could make matters even worse is if you get behind someone who's just flat out blocking everything by holding up their phone way up high to record the show the entire time, or hoisting a kid up on their shoulders, or wearing that blasted Sorcerer Mickey hat. Now, before we get all in a tizzy about this, we got to take a deep breath and see the other side of things for a minute. If you paid a lot of money for your kid to be at Magic Kingdom, then you want to make sure they can see everything, right? So yeah, the temptation to hold them up higher so they can see Tinkerbell flying across the night sky is legitimate. And if the person recording the entire show is like FaceTiming their grandparents back home so they can experience it too, then again, the temptation to hold the camera or iPad way high in the air in front of others can be very real. And we gotta at least give props to Sorcerer Mickey Guy for getting in the Disney spirit and all, I guess. But let's flip the script. Everyone else behind these people have also paid a lot of money to be here and also want to see the show, and it's hard to see the show when there's a clear obstruction blocking your view. If you're planning on recording this show for whatever reason you might have, or the younger folks in your party are going to struggle to see against the thousands of other guests packed into Main Street USA, then try to stake out a spot closer to the front of the castle at least 45 to 60 minutes before the show starts. That way you automatically have a clearer view and angle for you and anybody else in your family. From there, you can lift up your phone or your kid to the height of your own head instead of hoisting either of them well above you. That way you won't be blocking guests too much more than what you would have already been accomplishing while standing there like a law-abiding citizen. And if you're the one wearing the Sorcerer Mickey hat, we love it, promise, just take it off during the show. If you don't want to deal with the possibility of your Magic Kingdom show being blocked whatsoever, you may also want to consider investing in one of the Happily Ever After dessert parties, which are going to give you a guaranteed view of the show, plus unlimited desserts, drinks, and other snacks to enjoy either before, during, or after the fireworks take place. The fireworks dessert pre-party takes place at Tomorrowland Terrace and will give you your spread of desserts before the show. Then when it's showtime, you'll be led to a VIP roped-off standing area reserved for dessert party guests only at the Plaza Garden. The post-party offering is basically the same thing, only you'll get your desserts after the Happily Ever After instead of before. And the Seats and Suites dessert party option is a little more expensive than the other two, but that's because you get to sit in Tomorrowland Terrace and enjoy your desserts during the performance. You can book a fireworks dessert party just like you would a regular table service 60 days before your visit. Now, this is something we hear about regularly from our viewers and followers and readers, so let's talk about it really quickly. There's this gal, we're gonna call her Annie, and she was invited to join her uncle, aunt, and cousins on a Disney World trip. Super fun. Annie booked a separate hotel for herself since she wanted her own space, totally get it, and saved money by not adding the Disney Dining Plan, which is a Disney World vacation package service that allows you to prepay for the bulk of your meals before you go. The problem, Annie's aunt and uncle did pay for the standard dining plan, and they wanted to make sure they got their money's worth out of it, so they booked reservations, Annie included, for really expensive table service restaurants. They also added on restaurant experiences like Epcot's Eat to the Beat concert series dining package, and one of the Fantasmic dining packages at Hollywood Studios as well. So these are great ways to make the most out of your standard Disney dining plan, since they'll already be covered with those table service credits. But for Annie, she was going to have to pay for all those out of pocket, which can range around $50 to $80 per adult per meal. This is a frustrating conundrum, but if you're ever in a similar situation, here's what we need to walk and talk through before hurt feelings enter the chat. First and foremost, don't be afraid to speak up. If you don't want to be part of the reservation that your group's already signed up for, be honest, and be honest as early as possible so that your family can modify the reservation without having to worry about those pesky no-show fees we talked about earlier. Literally, nobody has to be in the wrong here. It makes sense for a family to want to get the most bang out of their buck for their DDP, but it also makes sense for other members of the group to not want to pay for this service, since it can end up costing way more than you originally intended to spend on Disney food. Quick aside, that's because Disney has done the research and they know how much people usually spend on food, and so they price that dining plan way at the top of that average, right? So if Annie's like, listen, man, I'm just going to bring in some granola bars and, have some burgers, then she's going to pay a lot less than if she paid for the dining plan. Make sense? Okay. And secondly, if you're inviting someone to be part of your travel group, have an evening or two that's set up months before you travel to chisel out everyone's game plan. Not everyone has to be on the exact same page all trip long. But that way you know when you can split off to do your own thing, who wants to pay for the premium stuff, and when you can come back together again to do things as a whole group. The thing with a standard Disney dining plan is that you'll get 1 table service credit per day of your visit, which you can spend wherever you want to, and you'll receive 1 quick service credit per day too. So it's not like a family of DDPers is going to be dining high end for every single meal. You'll still be able to come back together to share some more budget-friendly meals and counter service stuff as well. Now, the Disney dining plan can be a lot to wrap your head around when you first hear about it, but we do have an entire DFB guide to maximizing the Disney dining plan over at dfbstore.com if you want to study up on it before you go and see if this pricey add-on is even going to be worth it for your group in the long haul. Just be sure to type in code YouTube to apply a discount towards your guidebook purchase. Whether you like it or not, weather is a frustrating part about the whole Disney World experience. Nothing Disney can do about it on their end, despite the rumors that Disney's got their own weather dome. They totally don't, by the way. But regardless, nothing quite ruins your mood like buying a whole tray of Epcot Festival food seconds after the rain starts coming down in sheets, or waiting up to an hour for an outdoor ride just for it to close down because of inclement weather. Or in general, just having to spend your whole day out in a deluge instead of getting to take a nice sunshiny picture in front of Cinderella Castle. There's a good chance that you'll have at least 1 or multiple rainy Orlando days during your vacation, especially if you're visiting during hurricane season, which starts at the beginning of June and lasts until the end of November, so it's basically almost all year. So here are a few ways that might help you weather the worst of it. Yes, I'll be here all week. Okay, 1, pack rain gear just in case. I am always bringing along one of those super light, like aluminum chibi umbrellas with me, and I tend to use it at least once or twice a trip. It just goes in my park bag and it just stays there. Other good ideas are bringing a poncho because they're super expensive in Disney World, quick dry athletic wear, and shoe covers, which could help solve the soggy sneaker crisis that we talk about. 2, consider Magic Kingdom as your rainy day option. This is kind of a random suggestion, but if the weather is truly saying that it's not going to let up at all and you really don't have any wiggle room days to fit into your trip to wait things out, then choosing Magic Kingdom as your main park that day and maybe considering upgrading your standard park tickets to park hoppers in case you want to return to Magic Kingdom to hit up anything you didn't get the chance to see while it was raining might be a good idea. But why Magic Kingdom? Well, because it's got a lot of indoor rides, shows, attractions, connecting indoor shops down Main Street USA, and restaurants where you can bide your time indoors. It's just a better indoor park in general. It's also close to 3 deluxe resorts along the monorail line you can also escape to if need be. Plus, if the rain is just sort of drizzly and gloomy but nothing tremendous, you might have the chance to see Magic Kingdom's rare rainy day cavalcade, which is the park's default option for Festival of Fantasy when it's getting too yucky out for those parade floats and character costumes. And 3, check out the forecast before you do anything. If you download a minute-by-minute weather app, you'll have quick access to up-to-date weather information, meaning you can plan around the storms and hit up any outdoor attractions a few hours before they roll in. Okay, I feel better already just getting all this annoying stuff off my chest. If you're still looking for more ways to avoid the most potentially nerve-wracking parts about Disney World, don't worry, we got you covered. Check out our latest terrible changes coming to Disney in 2026 video next. And don't forget to download our free Ride Every Disney World Ride PDF over at disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyRides. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.